Hey, I'm making this little video for the family, my family. 10 years ago today, our father passed away. He was 86 years old, and miss him every day. But I got to thinking about all the memories, and just like all families, in the holidays, you share stories and laugh a lot about things that happened when you were a kid. And I'm out mowing the yard a while ago, and I got to thinking about this story, and I just thought I'd share it with you guys. Uh, it happened back in the early 50s. We lived out there on the farm, and back then, unlike today, when you had supper, you sat down at the dinner table, and ours was in the kitchen, and there was 8 of us, and we would be at the table for supper, and of course Mom would be up trying to get everything ready. And so at that time, Bob is the oldest boy, and he's sitting at one end of the table, and my dad sits at the other end. And then next to Dad, there's Carol. She was small, and then Mom, then my brother Tom, and on the other side of the table there was Jim and Dave and myself. And back then you had conversation. You weren't staring at some silly iPhone, or you weren't texting your friends and competing on who had the worst day. It was conversation, and it was not always good. And Bob being a teenager, and I can't really remember exactly what the conversation was about, but Bob and Dad were in a heated discussion about something, and my dad had reached that point, like a lot of parents, where he said, "That's it. There's no more discussion. I don't want to hear anything else." And when my dad said something like, "That's it," he meant it. He wasn't one of these guys that if you did something and kept doing it, that he counted to 3, or he didn't ever suggest about taking a time out. That wasn't even in his vocabulary. When he said something, he meant it. Well, Bob being a teenager and his independence shining through, he decided to say one more thing. And Dad had told him before that, if you say one more thing, I'm going to take this knife and I'm going to pin your ear to the wall. Well, Bob, being Bob, said one more thing, and the knife flew. And I'm sitting there, and it's like slow motion, this knife passing before my eyes, heading for Bob's ear, and it went right past his head and hit the wall. And it broke the tine inside the knife. And the whole thing about this is, though, we had a whole new game to play as kids. Who got the shaky knife at supper? And I just wanted to tell Bob and Dave and Tom and Carol, I've got the shaky knife.